Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood updates here. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos. In a night packed with energy, laughs, and a little bit of live TV chaos, Saturday Night Live once again delivered a standout moment that had both the audience and cast members in stitches. And at the heart of it all was none other than Nwodim, a longtime SNL cast member who absolutely stole the show during the Weekend Update segment by transforming into a hilariously bold and unfiltered character known as Miss Eggy. This wasn't just another comedy bit. It was an electrifying moment that pushed the boundaries of live television and showcased Nwodim's sheer comedic brilliance. The segment started out with what seemed like a typical Weekend Update guest appearance. Colin Jost introducing Miss Eggy as a potential White House Correspondents' Dinner host. What followed, however, was anything but typical. Dressed in bright, feathery, high-energy fashion and bringing the kind of over-the-top stage presence that demanded attention, Nwodim's Miss Eggy immediately took control of the sketch. She wasn't there to simply deliver a few lines. She was there to set the studio on fire. Metaphorically speaking, Miss Eggy's monologue quickly became a wild ride filled with zingers about airplane food, weak men, and life's general frustrations. But it was her direct and repeated call to the audience to shout, "Play!" that created an instant call and response energy. The crowd's reaction wasn't just supportive, it was electric. Every time Miss Eggy hit a punchline or paused dramatically, the audience was right there with her, shouting in sync, feeding off her energy in real time. And she couldn't believe it herself. At one point, she turned to Colin Jost and asked, "Are they reading my cue cards?" That rare moment of breaking the fourth wall, where Ego dropped the character for a beat just to soak in the crowd's enthusiasm, was both genuine and hilarious. It was clear that even the cast wasn't fully prepared for how well the sketch was landing live. And then came the moment that cemented the sketch as a classic. Miss Eggy posed a rhetorical question to the audience about men. The setup was sharp, and the punchline, meant to be shocking, came instead from the audience itself. A group of people in the crowd, swept up in the energy and rhythm of the segment, blurted out, "'Cause these men ain't shit," so loudly and in sync that it had to be bleeped by NBC's censors. That was the turning point. The studio erupted into laughter. Ego momentarily lost her composure, and the camera quickly cut to Colin Jost and Michael Chi cracking up at the desk. It was a perfect storm of live TV unpredictability, the script, the performer, and the crowd all locking into the same manic energy. Miss Eggy didn't miss a beat. Instead of panicking or trying to cover up the moment, Ego leaned into it. "Oh, Lorne gonna be mad," she shouted, referring, of course, to SNL creator Lorne Michaels. The mention of Lorne in such a public, comedic way had the audience howling, even harder. For longtime SNL fans, it was the kind of insider joke that really hits home. The line was unscripted, and that made it all the better. Ego was in full control of the chaos she had created, and she relished it. Social media exploded after the sketch aired. Within minutes, clips of the Miss Eggy segment were trending across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Fans flooded the comments, calling it SNL's best moment in years, and hailing Nwodim as the undisputed MVP of the night. Even fellow cast member Bowen Yang chimed in online, calling it his favorite televised moment ever. It's rare for a single sketch to break through the digital noise, but Miss Eggy didn't just trend. She owned the internet for the next 24 hours. For those unfamiliar, Nwodim joined the SNL cast in 2018 and has since become one of the most versatile performers on the show. Her characters range from subtly sarcastic to outrageously loud, and she's become known for bringing depth and humor to every role she takes on. But it was last year's viral success of Lisa from Temecula that truly cemented her as a fan favorite. That character, another larger-than-life personality, also thrived on chaos, misunderstanding, and ego-driven comedy. In both Lisa and Miss Eggy, we see a fearless comedian, unafraid to push the envelope and completely commit to her craft. What made Miss Eggy such a brilliant follow-up to Lisa from Temecula was the sheer unpredictability of it. There was no dinner, table to destroy, or awkward silence to fill. This time, the comedy was completely live, raw, and driven by audience interaction. Ego didn't just survive the chaos, she orchestrated it. The best moments in live comedy happen when performers and audiences are completely in sync. And that's exactly what happened here. As Ego herself admitted in a post-sketch interview, she was shocked and thrilled by how perfectly the crowd read her energy and gave her everything she needed to take the bit over the top. TV critics also heaped praise on the sketch. Vanity Fair published an article the next morning declaring Ego the MVP of SNL and praising the sketch as a rare gem that reminded viewers why live comedy still matters in the streaming age. Entertainment Weekly echoed the sentiment, highlighting how the bleeped audience response was not just unexpected, but also a sign of how deeply Miss Eggy had connected with the crowd. They described the moment as comedy lightning in a bottle. Even within the SNL cast, the praise was evident. Michael Che and Colin Jost, seasoned Weekend Update anchors, looked genuinely caught off guard, in the best way, by how wild the sketch became. Their visible laughter and inability to maintain straight faces only added to the charm of the entire moment. Ego, meanwhile, glowed with pride and confidence as she left the desk. Her job well done, and her impact undeniable. What's particularly exciting about this moment is what it could mean for Ego Nwodim's future. With characters like Lisa from Temecula and Miss Eggy now under her belt, she's proving herself to be one of the most reliable and risky in the cast. Risky not in the sense of being controversial, but in the sense of always willing to try something different, something weird, something unforgettable. And that's exactly the kind of energy that Saturday Night Live needs as it evolves for a new generation of viewers. In an era where pre-recorded content, viral videos, and perfectly edited skits dominate comedy, Ego Nwodim just reminded everyone of the unique thrill that only live television can deliver. 1 minute you're introducing a character called Miss Eggy. The next, you're trying to hold the sketch together as the entire audience yells, "Play!" and shouts back bleep-worthy punchlines. That's not something you can plan. It's something that happens when a performer truly commands the room. So what's next for Miss Eggy? Given the sketch's viral success and the love it received from both fans and critics, don't be surprised if she makes a return. Much like Lisa from Temecula, Miss Eggy has the kind of infectious energy and quotable lines that beg for a second outing. And if anyone can turn chaos into comedy gold, it's Ego Nwodim. Whether she's shouting down weak men or blowing up dinner parties, one thing's clear. The future of SNL's most memorable moments is in very good hands. That's all for today's update on Daily Gossip. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more of your favorite Hollywood moments, celebrity surprises, and behind-the-scenes brilliance. And remember, next time someone says, "Play," you better answer, "Miss Eggy demands it."